Chosen one, something is shifting in your path, and it's not what it looks like. What's coming ahead may appear one way to your eyes, but carries a completely different energy beneath the surface. You can feel it, a strange stillness mixed with anticipation, like the world is holding its breath. The signs are appearing, but they're not telling the full story. The people, the opportunities, the sudden changes, they all seem real, but not all of them are aligned. This is the part of the journey where discernment becomes your shield. Because not everything glowing in front of you is light. Some things are reflections meant to distract you from what's real. Before we dive deeper, take a moment to be fully present with this message. You weren't led here by accident. The universe is trying to prepare you to open your spirit to clarity before the next chapter unfolds. So as you listen, let the energy of these words reach your soul. Watch this till the end, and if this message finds you, write your warmest wishes and 777 in the comments. That's not just a number, it's a declaration of alignment. It's you telling the universe you're ready for what's true, ready for what's yours, ready for what's next. Your wishes carry energy, and when you release them, heaven starts to respond. Now listen carefully. The path ahead of you is not as simple as it seems. You're entering a season of great revelation, where the masks fall, where intentions reveal themselves, where what's fake loses power to hide. Some doors will look inviting but lead nowhere. Some connections will feel comforting but carry confusion. Not everything disguised as blessing will come from heaven. The test ahead is not about movement, it's about discernment. Will you recognize what's sent to bless you versus what's sent to block you? Because both often look the same at first glance. The universe is about to show you the difference between distraction and direction. That's why things have been quiet lately. You've been pulled into isolation not as punishment, but as preparation. Silence sharpens perception. The more still you become, the louder energy speaks. You've started to notice something feels off with certain people, certain situations, certain offers. They look good, sound right, but something deep inside whispers, wait. That whisper isn't fear, it's wisdom. You're not paranoid. You're being protected. Heaven hides the truth behind illusions to see who trusts their intuition more than their eyesight. This season is teaching you that appearances can deceive, but energy never lies. There are forces trying to mirror divine timing to lure you off your path. False opportunities disguised as blessings. People who speak like destiny but move like distraction. Circumstances that seem divinely aligned but carry frequencies of confusion. You'll feel it in your body first. Your spirit will sense the imbalance before your mind rationalizes it. Trust that signal. When something ahead feels off, it's not doubt, it's divine warning. There's a reason your journey has been so intense lately. You've been refined through disappointment so you can recognize deception. The universe doesn't want you fooled again. That's why old patterns are resurfacing, not to trap you, but to test your response. The energy ahead will try to look familiar because that's how it gains entry. It will remind you of things you once prayed for, but the difference is vibration. One will drain you, one will energize you. One will rush you, one will bring peace. That's how you'll know. Don't be fooled by timing either. Just because something shows up suddenly doesn't mean it's urgent. The wrong things always arrive dressed as right when you're closest to your breakthrough. It's not coincidence, it's interception. When your spirit starts glowing brighter, you attract attention, not just from heaven, but from everything that feeds on light. Stay grounded. The distraction will always appear one step before destiny. And that's why this message matters, because you're closer than ever. The illusion is intensifying because you're walking into something real. The enemy of your peace always reveals itself right before your promotion. You'll start noticing energy shifts in conversations, invitations, even emotions. Some will feel like tests of patience, Others will feel like traps designed to pull you back into cycles you've already escaped. But this time, you'll see it for what it is. Something ahead is not what it seems, but that's your advantage. You've learned to move slowly, to feel energy instead of chasing appearances. You've learned to pray for peace more than proof. And because of that, nothing false can survive near you anymore. The veil is lifting. People will reveal who they are without even realizing it. Truth will walk into the room uninvited and expose what's been hidden. You won't have to investigate, you'll simply know. This is the season of divine unveiling. The people pretending to be loyal will show their cracks. The offers that seem irresistible will reveal their hidden cost. The connections that drain you will suddenly fall away, and you won't need to fight any of it. It will happen naturally, by energy alone. Heaven is cleaning your path before the next level unfolds. That's why this warning came now, because what's ahead is not danger, it's discernment. It's a test of how much you've learned about silence, patience, and inner knowing. So don't panic when things shift. Don't overanalyze when something ends abruptly or a door closes unexpectedly. That's not rejection, it's redirection. It's heaven saying, that's not it. The truth is, something ahead is not what it seems, but that's not a reason for fear. It's confirmation that your discernment is finally awake. You're not meant to rush forward, you're meant to walk with awareness. Everything you've learned has brought you here to this very moment. You're ready now. You can feel what's real before you see it. You can sense what's wrong before it speaks. You're not being deceived anymore. You've become too tuned in, too aligned, too aware to fall for old illusions. That's why you're being warned, because this time you'll see clearly. And clarity is your protection. The fog ahead will clear the moment you stop doubting your intuition. Don't second-guess the knowing that has never failed you. What's ahead may look uncertain, but what's unseen is already secured. Heaven never warns without reason, and if you're hearing this, it means something in your path is about to reveal its true form. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay silent long enough to see what speaks when you don't. Because soon the truth will come forward. And when it does, you'll realize it was never hidden from you. It was hidden for you. You can sense it now, the subtle unease that creeps into the room when everything appears fine. You can feel the distortion between what's shown and what's real. That's not imagination, that's discernment waking up. Something ahead of you is shimmering with false light, meant to catch your attention, meant to feel urgent. But energy doesn't lie, and if you slow down long enough, you'll realize the vibration isn't peace, it's pressure. And anything that rushes you, manipulates you, or confuses you is never divine. The illusions are growing stronger because your spirit has reached a new level of awareness. You've outgrown the obvious traps, so now deception must evolve to look familiar, comforting even. It comes in the form of things you prayed for, opportunities that sound perfect, or people who suddenly reappear after vanishing when you needed them most. But look closer, watch the pattern, not the promise. Energy repeats itself more clearly than words ever will. You're being guided to read between the lines now. That's why conversations lately feel layered, like people are saying one thing, but meaning another. That's why your dreams are more vivid. They're not random. They're warnings and confirmations disguised as symbols. Heaven speaks in mystery to protect what must remain unseen until it's safe to reveal. You're being trained to understand those codes, to see what can't be spoken aloud. And here's the truth. The closer you move toward destiny, the more subtle deception becomes. It doesn't always arrive with red flags. It arrives with almosts. Almost right, almost peaceful, almost divine, but almost is the enemy of alignment. The universe doesn't deal in almosts, it deals in absolutes. That's why this season feels like walking through fog. You're not lost, you're learning to see with your spirit instead of your sight. Something ahead isn't what it seems, not because it's evil, but because it's incomplete. The path hasn't fully revealed itself yet, and that's intentional. Heaven withholds clarity not to confuse you, but to refine you, to teach you trust over control. When the next door opens, don't look for comfort, look for confirmation. You'll know it by the peace that follows, not the pressure that precedes. You are being hidden and protected by divine misdirection. The false paths exist only to prove that you've mastered discernment. And when the real opportunity comes, you'll know instantly, not by sight, not by sound, but by resonance. Because what's meant for you won't need to convince you, it will simply align. The energy around you is shifting faster than words can describe. It's as if the air itself has begun to hum with truth, quietly rearranging the pieces of your story while you sleep. You've likely noticed small, strange coincidences. Someone you once trusted suddenly feels unfamiliar. An opportunity that once seemed golden now feels heavy, or a path that used to call your name has gone silent. These aren't coincidences, they're corrections. Heaven is editing your timeline, and part of that process is revealing what's been pretending to belong. Something ahead is not what it seems because it was never meant to go with you where you're heading. That's why certain things have started to break away. Not because you failed, but because the vibration no longer matches yours. The old season can't breathe in your new frequency. You've outgrown the illusions that once fed your spirit. You no longer chase validation from places that can't hold truth. You've learned that quiet discernment is louder than any promise spoken out of alignment. Watch what starts to crumble when you stop forcing what's not flowing. Watch how people reveal their true intentions when you don't feed their need for attention. You'll begin to see that energy has always been the real language. It's not what people say that matters anymore, it's what they emit. You can stand in a room full of smiles and feel which ones are hollow. You can read the silence between sentences and hear the truth hiding there. That's spiritual maturity. It's the moment when your perception becomes protection. Something ahead is being tested, not just your faith, but your focus. There are distractions dressed as destiny waiting on your path. They'll offer you shortcuts, comfort, validation, or even the illusion of arrival. But you weren't chosen to settle for illusions. You were chosen to build foundations that last beyond emotion, beyond approval, beyond applause. The illusion ahead is not meant to break you. It's meant to measure you, to see if you'll choose alignment over attachment, purpose over popularity, peace over noise. The next phase of your journey is layered with tests that will look like blessings. That's why you're being refined through stillness first. Because when movement returns, it must be led by peace, not pressure. Heaven doesn't want you to run toward the next shiny thing. Heaven wants you to move only when something feels like home in your spirit. The world is filled with glittering distractions that sparkle like miracles but drain like traps. But the real thing, the divinely aligned moment, will never leave you questioning your worth. Chosen one, the signs will begin to multiply now. Random delays, unexpected cancellations, sudden impulses to wait, all of them are divine signals whispering, "Not this." Every time you obey that whisper, you break another illusion. Every time you choose silence over reaction, discernment grows sharper. And every time you let go of what confuses you, clarity rushes in like light. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are exactly where revelation happens, between what's ending and what's about to begin. Something ahead may not be what it seems, but that's your advantage. You've learned to read beyond appearances. You've learned to feel truth. And that makes you untouchable by deception. It begins quietly, always quietly. The mask doesn't fall with noise, it falls in silence. A shift in tone, a glance that lingers too long. A word that doesn't match the energy behind it. That's how truth reveals itself now, not through confrontation, but through vibration. You feel it before it happens. Something inside you starts to stir, not in fear, but in recognition. This is what you've been prepared for, the unveiling. What's ahead is starting to unravel, and you can see the strings that were once invisible. The people who smiled while hiding envy. The paths that looked divine but carried hidden costs. The doors that opened too easily because they were traps, not blessings. Every illusion has a lifespan, and this one has reached its end. You are walking through a field of collapsing facades, and while others panic, you stand still because deep down, you knew this moment was coming. The signs are everywhere. You're receiving messages that don't feel right, opportunities that come with pressure, invitations that stir confusion instead of peace. Pay attention to that feeling. It's not anxiety, it's discernment. The closer you get to destiny, the more disguised the distractions become. The test isn't to spot the darkness, it's to recognize the counterfeit light. That's why heaven taught you silence. It was never about isolation, it was about training your perception. So when deception stands next to destiny, you can tell them apart. The energy of illusion feeds on reaction. That's why it studies you, mimics you, tests your patterns. But this time your silence starves it, your stillness becomes resistance. You're no longer chasing answers, you're attracting truth. You don't explain yourself to confusion anymore because clarity doesn't need to argue. You've learnt that the strongest response is peace, and now heaven is moving. Things will start to fall away faster than you expect. People, habits, even dreams you once thought were sacred. Don't chase what's fading. Not everything lost is a loss. Some things vanish because they've already fulfilled their purpose. The energy ahead isn't meant to comfort you, it's meant to clear you. This is the separation phase where everything misaligned dissolves so that what's meant can take its rightful place. You'll soon look back and realize that what felt like chaos was choreography. The confusion was correction. The silence was strategy. Every false thing collapsing is proof that truth is making room. Don't fear what's falling apart, fear pretending it still fits. Because what's not meant for you will always drain you, no matter how beautiful it looks. Something ahead is not what it seems, but you no longer need to fear that, because while others will be fooled by the surface, you've learned to see the spirit. Your discernment has become your direction, and your peace has become your weapon. You've outgrown illusion. You're walking into revelation. Everything is accelerating now. The energy that once felt stagnant has started to move, and you can sense it pulsing in every corner of your reality. The illusions are breaking faster than you can process, and it feels both freeing and disorienting. One day you wake up feeling light, unstoppable, ready to soar, and the next, the weight of everything false that ever touched your life crashes down like a final wave. But don't mistake this collapse for chaos. This is revelation doing its work. This is heaven exposing everything that was never meant to stay. You've stepped into a realm where truth travels faster than lies. You can't unsee what you've seen, can't unknow what your spirit already understands. The veil is gone now, and what's left is raw awareness. Every energy, every word, every presence around you either amplifies your peace or disrupts it. That's how you know who's for you and what's real. The spirit of deception can no longer hide behind charm, status, or familiarity. The disguise dissolves the moment you stand in alignment. This is the moment heaven was preparing you for, the unveiling of all masks. What was meant to confuse you will now serve as confirmation. Every false person, every manipulative opportunity, every energy that once drained you is being forced into the open. They'll try to spin it, twist it, rewrite history, but your discernment already caught it before their words even formed. Because that's how powerful your awareness has become. You've learned that energy confesses long before the mouth does. Some things will try to re-enter your life around this time, but not because they've changed, because they sense your glow returning. They want proximity to your light, not responsibility for how they once dimmed it. You must stay grounded here. Don't romanticize what clarity has already exposed. You can't heal in the same room that once held your silence hostage. You can't grow where you were once reduced. That season is over. Every test of this journey has been about control, learning what to hold and what to release. You've been stripped of attachment so you can walk unburdened into what's ahead. The people who fell away were not punishment, they were pruning. Heaven removed every voice that would have confused your calling. That's why solitude was necessary. It sharpened your hearing, refined your intuition, and taught you to move by energy instead of explanation. The illusions didn't fail because they were weak, they failed because your light grew stronger. You became too authentic to feed the false. Every time you chose peace over performance, the deception lost power. Every time you trusted your inner voice over validation, the illusion cracked. And now you're standing in a space where energy aligns effortlessly. You're no longer chasing, it's all being drawn to you because your frequency finally matches your faith. Still, there's one more layer of revelation unfolding. You're about to see how much was orchestrated behind the scenes, not just by people, but by divine timing itself. What looked like setbacks were setups. What felt like rejection was protection. Heaven was watching how you responded to each illusion, testing your readiness for truth. You passed those tests when you refused to compromise your peace. You passed when you stayed silent instead of seeking revenge. You passed when you chose faith over fear. And now the test is shifting from discernment to direction. The fog is clearing, but what you see next may shock you. It will look unfamiliar because truth always feels new after deception. You'll begin to receive invitations, messages, and dreams that align perfectly, but not everything that glitters will be temptation this time. Some of it will be heaven restoring what was delayed. The trick is not to move with fear, but with awareness. You're no longer avoiding traps, you're choosing alignment. The energy ahead is lighter, cleaner, and sacred. The heaviness you carried from false seasons is falling off. You'll notice your creativity returning, your sleep deepening, your intuition sharpening. You'll start hearing your own spirit again without the interference of other voices. That's how you know the illusions are gone. Peace returns where confusion once lived. And when that peace comes, don't question it. It's real this time. You've earned it. This stillness is not the calm before another storm. It's the quiet after the cleansing. The storm was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to clear the air around you. And now, as everything settles, you can finally see what was hidden behind the fog all along. Truth. You are standing in the exact moment heaven designed for you to recognize your own reflection. Not the one the world gave you, but the one forged through fire, silence, and resilience. You've seen what illusion feels like, and now you'll know what authenticity sounds like. The voices ahead will no longer confuse you because your spirit has become fluent in truth. This is where the revelation deepens. Heaven is not done revealing, but you are now ready to receive without fear. The next unveiling will not expose deception, it will reveal destiny. What's ahead is not meant to deceive you anymore, it's meant to deliver you. You've crossed through confusion into divine clarity. And from here, nothing false can touch you. The storm has passed, the noise has faded. All the illusions that tried to hold power over your mind have dissolved into nothingness, and you now stand in the clarity that was waiting for you all along. You can feel it in your bones. The silence isn't empty anymore, it's full of knowing, full of balance, full of divine awareness. This is what it feels like to finally see beyond the veil. What once looked complicated now feels simple. What once felt heavy now feels like air. What was once uncertain now glows with quiet purpose. You have entered a new atmosphere, one that few people ever reach. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's calm, and it's real. You're no longer asking for signs every second because you've become one. Your presence alone carries evidence of the unseen hand guiding you. Every step you take now has weight, not because of fear, but because of alignment. You've stopped reacting and started creating. You no longer fight for clarity. You are clarity. And that is why heaven had to slow you down, so you could learn to hear through stillness. Look at where you are. You survived deception without becoming bitter. You walked through manipulation and still kept your heart soft. You watched false promises collapse, and instead of chasing them, you waited. That waiting was your weapon. That silence was your strategy. You were never losing time. You were gaining vision. The divine doesn't rush. It reveals layer by layer until truth becomes the only thing left standing. You've become a vessel for that truth now. You don't just recognize energy, you command it. This is the unveiling, and it's beautiful. The very things that once intimidated you now look small in your rear view. The storms that used to shake you now serve as reminders of how strong your foundation is. Every illusion that tried to scare you was actually sharpening you. You learned to pause instead of panic. You learned that being misunderstood is protection, not punishment. And you learned that real peace doesn't need an audience. It only needs presence. Something ahead is not what it seems, because what's ahead isn't danger anymore. It's destiny disguised as change. The old world is fading behind you while a new reality unfolds in front of your eyes. You can feel it in your spirit, can't you? The atmosphere is lighter, the nights are quieter, the synchronicities are louder. Numbers repeat, dreams intensify, conversations align perfectly. This is what it looks like when heaven prepares your next step. It doesn't shout, it synchronizes. You're about to walk into encounters that confirm what your soul has whispered for months. Doors that once resisted you will now open with ease. Opportunities that vanished will return, but this time you'll decide from strength, not scarcity. You've shifted from chasing to choosing, from worrying to witnessing. You've stopped asking, "Why me?" and started saying, "Thank you." That gratitude has opened portals no effort ever could. The people around you are about to sense it too. Your calmness will confuse those who built power from your reaction. Your peace will feel like punishment to those who thrived on chaos. That's because you've stepped into divine neutrality. You no longer absorb energy, you transform it. What was meant to drain you now fuels your purpose. Every loss has turned into revelation. Every silence has turned into strategy. Every delay has turned into direction. You've mastered the art of not forcing what's already aligned. And that's why heaven trusts you with what's next. You've proven that you can be still without being stagnant. You've shown that you can walk away without resentment. You've demonstrated that you can stay humble even when you're overlooked. That's why this next chapter isn't about proving anything, it's about receiving. The illusion of lack is gone. The illusion of competition is gone. You're walking in overflow now, but it's not loud. It's graceful. It's quiet abundance. In this new space, the energy of trying no longer exists. You're not chasing validation, you're radiating wholeness. The ones who doubted you will soon realize you never needed their approval. You were being built in silence. What's ahead will look unfamiliar, but it will feel like home. You'll recognize it by the way your spirit exhales when you arrive. The people aligned with you will bring peace, not pressure. The opportunities aligned with you will bring growth, not confusion. The timing will flow so naturally that you'll wonder why you ever worried. This final stretch of your transformation will not demand your effort. It will require your surrender. Let go of the need to predict how it unfolds. Heaven has already written it. Your only task now is to be. Be present, be receptive, be grateful. Every unseen thread is connecting. Every silent seed is sprouting. Every unanswered prayer is about to make sense. The story is turning, and it's turning in your favor. You are entering a divine alignment where nothing forced can exist. The illusions have done their part. They taught you perception, strength, patience, and power.